Okay, we are here with the final discussion and we might have some reports, so we'll start on that.
We've received 7 reports today, Bhante. Avasarai. Report number 1. Dear Swamin Wahansa, this is my first walking meditation. Last 3 years I have been doing sitting meditation. After walking meditation, sitting meditation has become more easy and blissful. Walking meditation. My primary object, feet touching the sand. First day when I turned around, I lost the focus. But then later, I started to be more mindful. I was mindful of my feet touching the sand. I was able to be present here and now. First day in front near Buddha statue, I felt irritated with noises from street. But second day, I did sitting meditation. During the noise, I lost focus, but I focused again on my breath. I was not irritated. I accepted the noises and able to continue my practice. My question, I still can't be mindful of quality of air passing through nostrils. I still can't differentiate cool stroke warm. I feel I am ignorant of my practice. Because it's same, I am not able to observe the variations. How can I develop my practice? Thank you very much, Bhante. Pin Sidhu Veva Swamin Wahansa.
Okay, so good that you started on your walking practice as well, because usually you can be mindful during the sitting time, but we spend many more hours in the day with unmindfulness, right? So you do the sitting practice maximum few hours per day, but still there are many more hours of unmindfulness. So you have to make sure that you connect these empty spaces or connect these other parts into your practice, right? Walking meditation helps in that manner, because walking you have your eyes open, your body is active. So if you know walking mindfulness, then it's much easier for you to go for the day-to-day mindfulness, right? You have to protect this as long as you are awake. You have to be mindful as long as you are awake, right? That very idea is important. Otherwise, you think that by doing sitting meditation only you can get there. That's not how it works. So do many hours of walking, understand the balance there, know how to be mindful in that posture, and gradually you can direct your practice towards the daily activities as well. That's the way. Otherwise you are mindful for a certain time and you are unmindful for a certain time. It's not going to work like that. You have to continue this mindfulness throughout your day. Not only in a retreat, but when you return home, when you go back home, still try to be mindful. It shouldn't be a burden to you. Instead, simply do your activities with some awareness. That very idea is important. Otherwise, no matter how many hours of sitting meditation you do, if you don't cover the other parts of your day, then it's not gonna work. Right? So that's one thing that's important. Then you are new to walking meditation, no? So it's natural when you turn, the attention breaks. Right? And you don't know this new balance of, keeping your eyes open, walking, and how to being mindful. But you do many hours and you get to know the new balance. Right? It's not a balance that you are familiar in the sitting session. It is a different balance that we develop during the walking practice. Day-to-day practice, even a different balance. That balance you have to identify by doing it only. Right? When you are doing your day-to-day activities, in a certain way, you have to go with the flow. You can't slow down too much. That's not feasible. That's not going to work. So you have to allow your usual speed to work, right? And one person was saying, before the retreat, their mother was cooking within 1 hour, right? After the retreat, only cutting vegetables take 1.5 hours. cutting vegetables, mindfully. And it becomes a hindrance for their usual activities. That shouldn't be the case. You just allow the things to continue and try to be mindful in the process. Sometimes you have to do multitasking, right? Many things at once. That's fine. Allow the process to continue and try to be somewhat mindful. That's a totally different balance than the walking and sitting. So you yourself has to do, practice and understand that balance. And the second part is that whatever the qualities, characteristics that you observe, that's enough. Right? You can't squeeze these things out of it. It's not gonna work. Right? Whatever that is apparent, you observe that. In the book, it will say that you should be observing these details. Or maybe other yogis are telling that they are observing some other details. It's not your concern. Right? Be mindful and notice whatever the things that are available. That's the way. Otherwise, you are always looking for something else while missing what you observe already. Right? That's not the case. Instead, you observe whatever the available things. That's the very practice. And one day, different things will be apparent to you. Then you can observe those things. Right? It doesn't matter what the book says. Prioritize your practice. You sit, you be mindful and you notice certain things. That is enough. Right? You have to welcome it. You have to embrace that. Simply continue that observation. And when you do that, at a certain time, different qualities will be apparent to you. Then you observe those qualities. That's how it works. Most people, they get confused between the books or probably the teachings or some information in other yogis' reports, and they try to observe those things in their own meditation. That's not going to work. Instead, be mindful, notice the primary object, continue your observation. Whatever you see on that particular sitting session or a walking session is fine. That's all you have to observe. Nothing more you need. Right? That attitude change is important.
Report number 2. Most Venerable Bhante. Primary object, breath. I've been meditating for 8 years now. I feel I have observed Kayanupassana, Vedananupassana and now in Chittanupassana. For about an year, I am in following state. Once I sit, within 5 to 10 minutes, I am falling onto a state where no thoughts, no bodily feelings, and while staying there for some time, I come to a stage that I cannot distinguish where my mind is, but I am sure I have not fallen asleep. I am not fully aware of this state, and it has been like this for so many months. I feel I am stuck in that state. But at some sittings, I jumped into an illuminated space too, seeking your guidance.
Right, so Kayanupassana, Vedananupassana, Chittanupassana, Dhammanupassana, all those words are used for the explaining purposes. Right? But when you take a particular sitting or a walking session, there is no pure Kayanupassana. There is no pure Vedananupassana. That's not how it's going to work. Instead, sometimes Kayanupassana becomes prominent. It's like a mixture of all these things. At times, Kayanupassana becomes prominent. At times, Vedananupassana becomes prominent. At times, Chittanupassana becomes prominent. At times, Dhammanupassana becomes prominent. So you simply has to go with the flow. Right? When you sit, just bring your attention to the breathing and naturally the process continues. Wherever that process leads you, that's your very practice. Right? So these words, they are for the teaching purposes. When you write on a book, you have to use them. But in the practice, most people, they get confused with these words. They try to do pure Kayanupassana or Chittanupassana. They try to pass grade 1 and move to grade 2. Right? Then say, I I've been here for many years in grade 2, now I'll go to grade 3, right? That type of approach most people take, right? It's the book knowledge that's haunting them. Instead, what you have to do is simply sit, be mindful and observe with the primary object. Naturally, the process goes to different stages of the practice. And whatever comes, it's okay. That's the very path. Sometimes Chittanupassana becomes prominent. So that's your practice. Sometimes Vedananupassana becomes prominent. That's your practice, right? Sometimes certain other experiences come, like mentioned in the report. So that's your practice, right? Naturally, the practice is always moving forward. You doubt, you question, you try to do some other Vipassana or something, then it becomes the very bottleneck, right? So the process is right. Whatever you are experiencing is right. It's the doubting mind. That's the problem. It's the knowledgeable mind. That's the problem. So you have to let go of all these ideas and simply be. Simply be with the walking, simply be with the sitting. Then only you can reap your many years of practice. Otherwise you are confusing yourself, trying to go forward, trying to achieve a better grade, something like that, right? That is the worldly thinking that works. In the world we are always striving, no? We want to achieve a better position, right? In the company, maybe earn better money from the job, right? Achieve certain things in the world. That's how our mind is always working. So when it comes to the practice also, they try to, strive towards the Nibbana. Not gonna work. Initially it might work, as a beginner it might work, but after some time you get stuck, right? So sit in meditation and simply enjoy the process. That is the best meditation you can do today, right? You sit in meditation, you welcome whatever that comes, and that's your meditation. And if you have that approach, then you realize, without you even knowing, the practice works and it takes you where you need to go. That's how it works. The striving is for the outside world. Striving is the worldly thing. In this practice, striving might work initially, but sooner or later you have to let go of that attitude, right? So it's a good thing that you have practiced for many years. Many people can't achieve that. They simply do few weeks, few months, then they give up, right? But in order to practice this many years, it takes a lot of courage, and that's how we can really attain something in this very life. Buddha says practice for 7 years. That's his timeline, right? I met a couple actually from Kaduela, and I told them that you have to practice for 7 years. That's what Buddha says. Then they said, Bhante, we are full-time practicing on the weekends. Weekends they are practicing, and we have been practicing for maybe 4 years during the weekends. So I told them probably Buddha is referring to full time, the whole week, not only the weekend. So you might have to do 35 years then, right? Then they were worried, saying that we don't have that much time, right? So you have to, whatever possible you do, and leave the rest for the Dhamma. That's what you have to do. So you have done many years. You simply has to accept what's given to you. If you accept that, then that's the very Nibbana. That's the very Nibbana, right? You are denying the present experience. That's what we can see in this report, right? You are denying what's given to you. You are denying the experience that you are having, right? No, that's enough. Simply be happy and peaceful with that experience. And when that happens, that very experience becomes the Nibbana. There's no more striving. towards something else. You are happy and peaceful in the moment, right? So that's the idea I want to give.
Report number 3. Dear Bhante, I am in meditation practice for about 10 years now. At the time of started the practice, I was able to go into emptiness within 3-4 minutes after I start the sitting session, and I can be there for about 45 minutes. I practice every day from 4:30 to 5:30 in the morning for an hour or so. However, since of late, when I sit, I get some thoughts coming. I am aware that it appear and disappear, and I do not act on it. After about half an hour, I go into emptiness again and be in that for another half an hour. I felt that my progress has hindered as it takes more time for me to enter emptiness. Therefore, I am losing my courage and motivation to continue. Seeking your valuable guidance. Theruvan Saranai.
Yes, the same type of problem. Yeah, similar to the earlier report. Now, as a beginner, the practice is so much colorful, right? You have new experiences every day. It feels like you are traveling through some kind of like new journey. All those colorful sceneries, incidents, mysterious creatures, all those things happen, right? So for a beginner, it is really interesting. It is really new. But when you do for many years, then you realize it becomes really boring, monotonous, right? Then you start this blaming game. You say the practice is not moving forward. You say, I used to have these experiences, but now no longer I am having, right? All those things come. But you have to understand, when your meditation matures, it's natural that this becomes boring. It's natural that this becomes monotonous. That's the very nature. If the world is still interesting, then there is attachment, right? Research on the word viraga. Viraga means monotonous, boring. And that is the entrance, that is the gateway towards Nibbana. So it feels like so boring. You don't feel like continuing, you don't feel like doing meditation. That is the very approach towards Nibbana. As long as the world is interesting, there is attachment. As long as the world is colorful, there is attachment. Think about a situation when we are angry, we have no boredom, right? We are bursting with energy. When there is lust, we have no boredom. We are bursting with energy, right? All those incidents, all those occasions, we have a lot of attachment, strong attachment. That's why the world is so colorful. That's why it is bursting with energy. When you reduce attachment, you realize it becomes boring, it becomes monotonous, right? So you have to understand that's the very practice. This is a result of 10 years, it said, right? 10 years of hard work. But the problem is that you are not appreciating that. You are not appreciating what's given to you as 10 years of hard work. You still try to strive to emptiness. That's the very idea. Initially it came within few minutes, now it takes 30 or so minutes to go there. And most of us, we don't know the real meaning of emptiness. We say that it should be empty, nothing should be there. That's the emptiness that we talked about, right? But in Buddha's teachings, the very emptiness is this change between the fullness and the emptiness. Sometimes it becomes full, thoughts, different things appear. Sometimes it becomes empty, right? It's this very exchange that's called as empty. There is no real essence in it. That's the very idea of emptiness. There's this sutra discussion between Buddha and Mahakaccayana Thero. He's asking about this topic, and Buddha says, sometimes things arise out of emptiness, out of void. When things arise, he gives up the view that the world is empty. Because you see things arising, right? And the arisen things disappear after a while. When he sees the disappearing part, he gives up the view that the world is real. World is solid. Right? And Buddha says this is the very practice. When you see the arising, you realize the world is not empty. When you see the disappearing, you realize the world is not full. Right? It is the very exchange between fullness and emptiness. That's the very idea of Buddhist emptiness. Right? And Buddha says there is no real essence in this. Things arise and after a while they pass away. That's the very nature of these things. So in your meditation, the first 30 minutes, things are arising, thoughts are coming, different things are coming. So you are experiencing the fullness. That says that the world is not empty. And the second part, you are experiencing the emptiness. That says that the world is not full. That is the right view. That is the very practice. So let the things arise and let the things disappear. We don't get into a certain view about it. Right? So that judgment is correct. Your judgment is correct. Your judgment is incorrect. You have to know that this is the very practice. It doesn't matter when you arrive towards that emptiness. After 30 minutes or after 3 minutes, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you simply continue this observation. It gets empty, but it won't stay like that. Things appear once again. And things appear, they won't stay like that. Gets empty once again. The very exchange between the emptiness and the fullness, that is the very correct view or the correct practice.
Report number 4. Venerable Bhante, first of all, I want to thank you for your loving kindness towards all of us in spending your time to guide us through our meditation journey. My first day was very difficult. My first day was very difficult in enabling me to focus my mind when my body was distracting me. My second day was much better, where I was able to focus as the objective but kept sweating profusely. Even though I woke up at 4 a.m. and did not rest in a normal way, I felt I had deep sleep and rest after each meditation session, especially after sitting meditation. I felt a sense of non-judgment and contentment in just being. My third and final day is today. My body feels cool and enables me to focus very much better than the last 2 days. I prefer sitting meditation as it helps me more to be in the present. Where walking meditation, I seem to contemplate and process thoughts more. This morning's sitting meditation initially brought many random images to mind. As guided by yourself, I wish these images well, let go of them and focused on my primary objective. On experiencing pinching skin sensations, I gave it acknowledgement and these sensations disappeared. I then felt a heat stroke warmth in the middle of my chest, but no sweating like the day 2. There were few times I lost awareness and then felt my body jerking as if to stop falling. Overall, I was content, not elated or deflated, but just present. Am I practicing my meditation on the correct path with metta?
Okay, thank you for assigning the quality of loving kindness to me. Yeah, usually I don't get that praise. I don't appear that much kind or compassionate, right? Yes, right. So that's a rare phrase that I receive. Usually people don't assign me that quality, usually they say rude or something like that, right? So that's good news. And the second part, you can see now within 3 days, right? Your progress in your report, you yourself can see. This is only within 3 days. You start with this scattered mind and gradually you become better at the practice. It's not that the mind has changed. It's mainly that your mindfulness has developed and you are able to manage your situations or manage your mind better. Thoughts come, but you know where to navigate yourself. All those other things come, but you know how to anchor yourself towards the primary object. Right? So that's 3 days progress only. And our encouragement is towards continuing this practice. Don't wait till the next month's retreat. That's the worst thing to do. Instead, do your daily practice. At least develop a habit of sitting for 30 minutes. Develop a habit walking for 30 minutes. 1 hour, no. It's not a big thing to ask. If you say you don't have 1 hour, then you are telling something else. Right? So probably do early morning sitting session. Then before bed, do a walking session. Right? So that way, every day 1 hour at least. And continue with that till the next month. And again attend a retreat. Again develop your practice as a residential retreat. Again go back home. Continue your daily practice. That approach you have to take. Right? That's the correct approach. That's how you can develop what you have developed during these 3 days. You have to develop further. And that's how you can do. And when you develop, your own meditation report is the evidence that you are progressing. Now everybody could hear within 3 days how you have progressed. And your practice is correct. Things come, you know where to anchor yourself. Right? That's the very idea. So we encourage you to do your daily practice and continue this journey.
Report number 5. Venerable Bhante, it was mentioned at Q&A that Nibbana could be where you want to reach in meditation. If I have understood correctly, does that mean everyone's meditation journey is different? There's another part. Is the ultimate Buddhist journey to end samsara, stroke rebirth, by realizing there is no self, attachment or detachment, leading to detachment? Sorry, I'll read it again.
Can we first do the first?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Can you read it again?
Okay, sorry. It was mentioned at Q&A that Nibbana could be where you want to reach in meditation. If I have understood correctly, does that mean everyone's meditation journey is different?
Okay, you can see my memory, how sharp. Just read and I forget. Again read, I forget. Right, so the journey of Nibbana. Right, so let's say it's always unique. You can't have similar path between two yogis. That's not how it works. That's why we have to encourage you to develop your own practice. Because if you try to copy and paste my practice, it won't work. Right? Most people try to do that. That's wrong. Instead, as guiding people, we also give some space for you to develop your own practice. So by developing your own practice, you strengthen your mindfulness, you strengthen your path, and gradually it becomes a journey instead of a destination. So in your question, you refer to a destination. That's probably wrong. Right? The whole idea of destination comes with craving. You want to reach somewhere. You want to reach somewhere. There's this destination. that you want to reach. But the very Nibbana is being happy and peaceful in the present. Right? So that's the very idea. I think I mentioned last time also, there's this YouTube video, a documentary that says a man with 23-second memory. He has some disease, dementia. Right? His memory lasts only 23 seconds. So he can't stay at home. He has to be in a special facility. Otherwise, early in the morning, okay, I have to take medicine. You take medicine. Then within 23 seconds, you forget that you took. Then again, for the second time, you take medicine. What happens? In the morning time, it will be over. Right? So this fellow is in a facility. And his wife comes to visit him. And it's out of the world kind of a welcoming. Oh dear, where have you been? He has the old memories. He can't only make new memories. That's his issue. He can't make new memories. Right? So this fellow is one of a kind welcoming. Oh darling, where have you been? It's so nice to see you. Kisses, hugs, everything. Right? Then this lady goes to the washroom and comes. Again, the same process continues. After 23 seconds, he forgets. Right? So that fellow is kind of like peaceful in the present. He doesn't have any problems, he doesn't have any issues. But once you remind that you have a sickness, once you remind that you did you forget that I came earlier, when that happens, he gets really angry. Right? So he in his mind, he has this idea, he is sick. When somebody reminds that, he gets really angry. So in a way, he is peaceful in the present, but he has that anger issue towards that experience, and he is denying that. He doesn't like to accept it. Right? So let's say that's due to a sickness. No. Meditators, they also try to embrace the present. Your present moment, the quality of your present moment reduces due to the preoccupations of your mind, the past incidents. Now today you have to go home and do all those things, right? So many thoughts, so many arrangements come to your mind. And as a result, the quality of your present moment reduces. But imagine simply being in the present. Simply embracing whatever that comes. That's the very journey that we talk about. It's not a destination. Don't get it as a destination. Instead, simply continuing this practice. Improving your mindfulness. Doing it for many years. That very thing becomes your path. Then the second one.
Is the ultimate Buddhist journey to end samsara, rebirth, by realizing there is no self, leading to detachment, attachment of emotions in total, within brackets, kelas.
Yeah, forget about ending samsara. At least can you be happy and peaceful in the present moment. Right? That's a fair enough gift that you receive from the practice. Right? When you go back home, are you happy? When you go to work tomorrow, are you stressful? Right? It's the main idea is to improve the quality of our life. Improve the peace within. I think that's enough. Right? All those questions, all these achievements goes with the worldly idea of achieving something. Right? You try to write your way towards Nibbana. But that's not gonna work. Instead, simply feel incremental levels of peace within. I think most of us, we can appreciate that. Due to the practice, I am managing my day-to-day situations much better. Due to the practice, I feel less stress. Due to the practice, I am not prone to some mental illness. That's enough, no? Right? That's enough, because most of us, we can't manage this. Mental health is the number one debilitating factor in this world. Out of 5, 1 person is sick with some mental disease. Right? Out of the youth in Sri Lanka, 24% are depressed. They have done this research recently. Out of youth, 20%. So imagine the levels of suffering that they are experiencing. Depression, then anger issues, committing suicide, drugs, all those things come. Right? So isn't it enough to simply be peaceful in the moment? Isn't it enough that you can simply manage your daily encounters with less stress? Isn't it enough that you don't have to develop a certain drug addiction to manage this life? Right? That's the very idea. Now we have done a couple of programs in those rehabilitating centers, and there most of the people are young crowds. Right? And it is run by the army. So it is very strict. Those fellows, it's not easy to handle them. Most of them are drug addicts, either ice or heroin, those type of things. And it's a surprising thing that they say, Bhante, if you see their parents, it's a sad thing to see. Because the parents are well off, doctors, engineers, well off people. Only son probably. Still this fellow got addicted to drugs and driven into a facility. Maybe from Colombo, the best schools in the country, but still due to bad influence, they got carried away. So when we see such situations, go to the cancer hospital. Now they say it's Apeksha hospital, right? Why you change the name? You say Apeksha, there is hope. But the real meaning is there is no hope. What can you do when you get such a disease? What can you do? Little children, sometimes 8-10 years old, diagnosed with cancer. So this is the reality. This is the life that we live. This is the world that's out there. So in this world, if we can live in a reasonable manner, if we can live with less stress, if we are not depressed, if we can manage our daily encounters with a certain level of peace, if we don't have a drug addiction or some other addiction to manage this stress, then I think that's enough. That's enough. Right? That gift is enough. No more striving is needed. Nibbana, forget about Nibbana. Right? That's enough. And I think, I can't exactly remember, there's this very nice poem. I think the author, he's David White or somebody. And the title goes as Enough. Enough. This breath is enough. Sitting here, that's enough. The opening to the life that you have refused so long, enough. That's the very idea. Right? Why search for something more? Why search for Nibbana? When you are peaceful in the moment, you don't need anything else. Right? So continue, do your meditation hours, and gradually these things will be corrected.
Kamatahan Vat, report number 6. Seated meditation. Started observing the breath. In a little while, my inner chatter started a conversation as leg is aching, needs to adjust the posture, needs to open the eyes. However, the chatter continued as okay, we'll stay for a while and see. Maybe after about 10 to 15 minutes, chatter reduced and the body gave a signal as if it is freeze, and that you can be mindful for some longer time. So then I continued it successfully for 1 hour. Thank you.
Yeah, if you start listening to this chatter, then it's not gonna end, right? You keep listening and it drives you crazy. Instead, you simply be, without recognizing with this, without identifying with this. You simply acknowledge that there is this voice and you simply continue. Right? Some people, they have like few voices inside them. Right? The few voices are saying certain things. And if you start listening to them, then it's a problem. And there's some mental disease as well, hearing voices. And I remember I was like utterly sick with fever. And I could feel like probably like 3 types of inner chatter during the feverish period. One is always cursing. Right? Cursing the situation, cursing everything. Right? That type of inner chatter. Then other one is like more like a peacemaker. He's saying, okay, that's fine, we'll somehow manage this situation. Right? What to do, kind of like peacemaking, kind of like a voice. Then third one is all about logics. Right? Making logics, making decisions and all those things. So you can see like feverish, utterly down, but still these voices, they come and they go crazy in your mind. Right? So when they come, it's a good observation that you have. Especially when you are sick, you can really feel it. You loses the control of your mind and you can see all those things are arising. All the childhood fears are arising. Right? All these voices are arising. Right? So that very experience you have to go through, meditate through that experience. So when the inner chatter comes, it's an opportunity for you to observe. Sometimes you might have to listen to the inner chatter. Sometimes you might have to deceive this very inner chatter. Sometimes you have to refuse it. Right? It depends. Most of the time we listen to it. That's not the only path. Right? We have been listening, now we are practicing not listening. And maybe we can practice deceiving it. How to deceive? The inner chatter says, no, I can't do meditation, I can't go. Right? Something like that. Then you forcefully, without thinking, go and register for 10-day retreat. Right? Forget about meditation, your inner chatter will go crazy. Right? Blaming you, cursing you for doing this, cursing all the surrounding people, even cursing the organizers, right? And cursing the monk that is teaching, right? That type of mind disease. So you have been listening to this inner chatter, now you are trying to deceive it, right? Those type of experiments are very nice, right? So it's a good start. You can see now you have confidence. You have gone through that experience and you stayed for a longer time. And now even the inner chatter knows that you are not fully tamed. Right? So that's a good thing. Now continue that experiment and see different stages of inner chatter. See different experiences of inner chatter. That way you can continue this. Most of the people, they have negative self-talk or inner chatter. So due to that negative self-talk, they manifest a negative world. Right? And it's a very dangerous or damaging effect. They live in a good environment. They don't have a sickness. They are well-off people. But still that inner chatter is so negative and destroying their life, damaging their life. So for even such a person, if they recognize that my inner chatter is mainly negative, then that's an insight. And they can continue with that observation for a long time. And as a result, the power, the energy of this inner chatter reduces. We have been encouraging these type of chatters for many decades. in the ignorance, in the darkness, we are always encouraging it. We don't know that there is this inner chatter, we are not observing it, we are not aware, and without us knowing, we encourage them continuously. So this is a well-fed inner chatter that we have. Well-fed for many decades. Now you have to practice starving it. Don't feed this inner chatter. Be aware. And continue for many months. And then you realize now the energy of this inner chatter, it has reduced. Because you are no longer feeding it. You simply practice awareness towards these things that appear in your mind.
In this report, Bhante, she has written something, I think it's a little bit of a misunderstanding. I'll read it out anyway, you can clear it off. In yesterday's discussion, Bhante, you said a person did meditation for 40 years and was regretting at his deathbed. Is he doing only samatha meditation? Because before I got to know Most Venerable Dhammajiva Thero, I also have practiced some of the samatha meditations out of the 40. And only after listening to Most Venerable Dhammajiva Thero, I also got to know about sati, and practicing sati has made me more calmer than before.
Now, the particular person I was referring to, he wasn't a meditator, but he tried to live a wholesome life, right? Doing like a traditional Buddhist kind of a thing. They do these recitations, they go to the temple, right? They protect precepts, all that type of approach. But the negative side was hidden inside. And when the person is sick, when the person is at his deathbed, that hidden side surfaces. It takes control. So you can see even simply trying to be good for 40 years, it won't get rid of these type of defilements. And for samatha also, that's partly true. Because samatha also, it's more like suppressing. They don't like the Vipassana part. They don't like to see the thoughts and things arising. And I have met a monk. He was from Russia. And he came to Sri Lanka, he ordained, stay for like 6 vasa. And during this time, he only practiced samatha meditation. It is about striving, achieving, right? Enter the first jhana, second jhana, that type of achievement, right? And this fellow says, he could feel that he is near his goal. He is about to enter first jhana, but he can't get there. So again, tomorrow he goes and tries. Day after tomorrow he tries. So this becomes a whole new struggle for them. And he said that his whole skin, it was covered with rashes. And he was a monk, but he couldn't be peaceful. He couldn't live peacefully. He felt guilty in his mind that his practice doesn't work. He felt guilty that he is a monk, but he couldn't do the practice. So all those thoughts came, finally he disrobed. 7 years. 7 years in, probably like 6 vasa, 7-8 years in robes. Right? So you can see even achieving, striving a certain goal, it doesn't work. Right? Even samatha practices, one day you have to turn towards Vipassana. And your experience is another evidence towards that. Right? Most of the samatha practitioners, they are stressful. They go against that Rumi's quote. They say, I am smart, so I wanted to change the world. That's their approach. They try to change the world. They try to establish good. They try to, find a world without any disturbances. That type of approach. But Vipassana is more like changing yourself, adjusting yourself into the situation, right? So that approach can really help you, and that's the way towards real peace. Otherwise, your peace is temporary. You are peaceful for a certain period, but then again the chaos appears. So in Vipassana, we simply embrace the chaos. We simply embrace the thoughts. We simply be mindful. through the experience. That's the very idea. So I think you got the idea. Your own experience, it is providing evidence for this very topic. So you can continue and practice and figure out your own balance or the peace.
That's the last written report, Bhante. I have a small appreciation. May we take the opportunity to wish you good health, wisdom and courage to walk through the journey of Dhamma path. Thank you and much merit to you for all the guidance given willingly, patiently and kindly. Thank you for all the knowledge and experience sharing. Thero Saranai.
Thank you for having me, and we are happy to see your motivation and how you guys are practicing and meditating. It's a good audience. You are interested, you are listening, you are engaged. So that's a rare opportunity for us as practitioners. Most of us, we go to certain audiences and they are not interested. Probably it's like a school for them. You are driven there, you sit while thinking about something else. So it's good to see that, there are certain groups, certain crowds that are interested and really engaged in the practice. So thank you for having me, and I wish you good luck.